What's up, peoples? It's Gendo here, and we made it. 2 years here of giving you content on Football Manager here on YouTube, and I gotta thank all 1,680 of you lovely subscribers. Without you, I would not be doing this, so thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, and today we're gonna cap that off with an Ask Me Anything session using both Twitter and YouTube. You sent your comments on both using the hashtag AskGendo, and I'm going to answer those off one by one. So without further ado, let's get started with the Twitter side first, and this is coming from a lovely gentleman by the name of Toxic Lemon, who says, "Why do our drafts always contain suspicious shenanigans which only benefit you? Hashtag rigged." Well, Mr. Toxic Lemon, I just gotta say to you, don't hate the player, but hate the game, and also get good. The next question comes from a man by the name of FM Life Troy, who says, "Ask Gendo, why did you get into YouTube and why Football Manager?" Well, I wanted to get into YouTube earlier on. I wanted to originally be a Guitar Hero rhythm game YouTuber back in 2007 under the old ROK Dragon name, but unfortunately, the two big things that I didn't have at the time, recording software or editing software, so that's really important nowadays if you want to make it big in YouTube. You gotta have yourselves a way to record and to edit, and I had neither. So why I originally got into Football Manager on YouTube is because, well, this was a game that for the last couple years I had grown more and more into, and I really wanted to, get onto the scene. I had done original vlogging, or not vlogging, but blogging on a website called sortedousi.net, and just typing up my stories and whatnot, and I wanted to take the next step and go into YouTube and filming, and I figured, why not give it a shot? So that's why I originally started with the Pentagon challenge back in 2015, way early 2015, and that was my original start on YouTube. Haven't looked back since, and I gotta say, I think it was a really, really good idea for myself to go out of the writing aspect and into the visual aspect. And that actually leads perfectly into the next question sent in by AP Football, who said, "Who was your FM inspiration?" Now, I watched a lot of Football Manager content leading up to my decision to start making content myself, and some of the names you would expect to hear, even though they themselves were just starting out, like no more than 6, maybe 9 months old, starting their own channels, like Dr. Benji, like Jack Work the Space, Golden FM, Mick Mar Jr., and just another guy. Those 5 were the ones that I really solely, singled out and watched a ton of their content before initially starting up my channel. In fact, it was a conversation I had with Mick Mar Jr. about starting up a Pentagon challenge, the rules and whatnot about that, as well as discussing about YouTube and whatnot before I decided to firmly 100% commit to actually making a YouTube channel and going forth making Football Manager content like that. So yeah, Mick Mar, definitely big shout out to him. Original shout out in my first ever video too, helping me get into the YouTube business, but also the other 4 for myself drawing inspiration from them. The next question is coming in from Dare FM, who says, "What's your favorite nation to play in, Brian Gendo?" And honestly, it has to be England. I know it's probably the most overused, overplayed, but I have to say it's the most familiar. Outside of the MLS in the United States, I only solely focus on watching the Premier League. I catch a match of the La Liga, of Serie A, of the Bundesliga every now and then. So I'm sorry, Dare FM, I don't watch the Bundesliga, but I feel like managing in England, just because of the sheer knowledge that I have of the country and the players and the teams, I feel like that's my most favorite nation to manage in Football Manager. Not to say that I wouldn't manage outside into the other nations of Europe or just around the world, but my most favorite and most familiar would have to be England. So next question is coming in from Borman Plays, who says, "Since it's not a Q&A without a wacky question, it has nothing to do with your channel." Spot on, sir. What is your beer of choice? Now, actually, I have 2 favorite beers whenever I go to the pub or to the liquor store to pick up a 6-pack of. It's got to be either a Sam Adams Boston Lager, just because of the smoothness and the flavor, or a Guinness, because I love my stouts, and Guinness is the king of stouts. You can't go wrong with one of those whenever you're having a nice burger to go along with it. Next question is coming in from Gaming with DM, who says, "Who is your money on to win the Super Bowl?" I'm going with the Cowboys. Prescott and Elliott have been amazing this season. Now, for those who don't know, he is talking about the NFL Dallas Cowboys. And just funnily enough, I came back from Vegas And I did put money on the Cowboys myself because I do feel like they have the best chance, the best shot to go all the way through, run the table. They're the second favorite team behind the New England Patriots to win the Super Bowl. So I figured, yes, they do have Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, which I agree. They have been absolutely astounding this year, and I feel like they can continue that on through the playoffs. They're going to be taking on the Packers tomorrow, or I should say today. Because I'm recording this on Saturday, but yeah, I just don't feel like that anybody in the NFC can take out the Cowboys right now. And on the AFC side, yeah, the only one who I can see matching up with them is the Patriots. Next question coming in from Gendo United says, on a scale of 1 to Z, how average do you think the Premier League is defensively? Now, I feel like the Premier League is a bit more defensive-minded than other leagues around Europe, so I'm going to put it up a little high. I'm going to say it's out of a 6, probably a 6, maybe 7 at most out of 10. I'm not going to go Z, 1 to 10. Because you have La Liga, doesn't really do all that much defensively, and then the most defensive nation and league I could probably think of is Serie A in Italy, because Italians love their defensive football. So it's in between those two. England definitely is more towards the top end of the scale, but they're just not super uber defensive like the Italians are. And now finally, the last question on Twitter before we move to the YouTube comments. This is from Witty Manager and says, do you have any old YouTube channels with some embarrassing videos on them that you can show us? Well, I got you one out of those 3, and yes, I do have an old YouTube channel, of course, ROK Dragon. I started that up September 15th 2006. Yes, that was like 3 weeks into my freshman year of college. I finally went and got myself a YouTube channel. But as far as embarrassing videos on them, yeah, everything that I did that I would consider embarrassing has been long deleted. The original videos that I put up on my channel, on that channel, were me playing the guitar, and pretty badly at that, as well as talking about American college football. And this would have been back 2007, 2008, and had those up for a few months. And then all of a sudden I just got a lot of hate, got a lot of 1 stars, which at the time it was 1 star, it wasn't thumbs up, thumbs down. So I decided to just completely axe those, get rid of them all, because, you know, haters got to me. Haters got to 20, 21-year-old me. So I said, okay, if no one's going to like this, if these people aren't going to like it, no one's going to like it. So just got rid of them completely. I do have other Let's Play videos on my ROK Dragon account that are set to private currently, because I feel like if I am going to put some more new content up there, I want it to be a fresh start. So yes, I do have videos from 2012 up to 2016 that are set to private currently. I could show you those if you so desire, but as of right now, it's pretty much all set to private. Alright, now let's take a look at some of your YouTube comments, and right off the bat, we're going to start with Callum LTFC, who says, ask Gendo, what has been your most successful save on Twitch or YouTube? Well, I'm going to say the most successful save that I've had on either Twitch or YouTube would have been the one that I completed at the very start, the Hexagon Challenge. Now, if you don't know about the Hexagon Challenge, it's basically trying to win the Champions League in every single continental competition. Now, it obviously starts off Pentagon, but because I added in some databases to add some of the Oceanic leagues, it soon became a Hexagon. And that's where I started off. Started off in the Oceanic League, started off in New Zealand, won that first, and then took a large trip around the world, gaining the other Champions League titles. Now, that took 120 episodes, and admittedly, if you do go back to it, it's gonna be a little bit cringy because the production value is so bad. It's so low. The mic quality is off. The video quality is pretty poor. So, word of warning, in case you do, in fact, go back to watch that. It does get a lot better near the end, like second half and on, but for the first half, it's, oh boy, it's a little rough. But like I said, that was when I was just starting out YouTube, so I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. But I would have to say, yes, the most successful thing that I ever have done in my YouTube Twitch career, it's got to be the Hexagon Challenge. Next question is coming in from GT1000. It says, ask Gendo, if you were Bruce Arena, who would you bring in for the January camp? And also, do you think we could turn the World Cup qualifying around? Enjoy Vegas, man. Well, GT, I did enjoy Vegas. I had a full stomach, an empty wallet, and that's about all you can ask for when you leave Vegas. But as far as your question goes, I'll answer the second one first, and that is, do you think we could turn the World Cup qualifying around? Yes, I absolutely do think we can. It's still early on in qualifying. We've only played 2 matches. We still have 8 more to go. I feel very confident we can get 4th place or above. And even if we do hit that playoff spot in 4th place, that whoever we take on, we'll easily defeat and get ourselves into the World Cup. So I don't have any, really reservations about us getting to the World Cup. It's just where in the hex, like where will we finish? Now, as far as the first part of your question, who should Bruce Arena bring in? Well, I don't think Clint Dempsey was in during the last World Cup qualifying matches, so you got to do that. Bring in Sasha Kleshin, bring in Eric Leshai. There's just so many that you could feasibly bring in that could help make the U.S. men's national team better, but this is Bruce Arena we're talking about. He's going to like a lot of the players that he played back in the day, as well as the players that he has played while he was at Los Angeles Galaxy. So I don't know exactly what he wants to bring in, but as far as the 3 players that I just mentioned, I would love to see them on the roster. Hell, make it even into the final 23 going into those World Cup qualifying matches. The next question is, in fact, a 2-parter from, and forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, Sergeant Smeg13, who says, firstly, I'm guessing you're a Chicago native, but deep dish or New York pizza? Well, you got the Chicago native correctly, and I've never really had a New York proper pizza, like a New York thin crust, long-ass pizza, so it would have to be deep dish. Like, I'm sorry, when I've had one and I haven't had the other, I'm going to go with the one that I've had the most. And the other question is, how many years until the Bears win? Ha, ha, ha! Oh, you're cracking jokes now. I don't think the Bears are going to win in the next decade. They're just so far gone right now in terms of talent and ability, both player-wise and coaching-wise. Yes, they really need to figure out the amount of players that they need to replace currently and go get them in the draft. And if you can't get them in the draft, get them in free agency and slowly but surely get yourself better to be a viable team within your division first, then your conference. And as of right now, I don't think the Bears will win their division for the next 5 years, and as far as being a Super Bowl contender, probably not for another decade. Next question is coming in from Damon McKnight, who says, who do you consider to be your favorite player of all time from any league in the world, and why? And right off the bat, I'm not going to say Messi or Ronaldo, because even though they are the best players right now and quite possibly are right up there in like the Mount Rushmore of best players of all time, I'm not going to pick them because I, even when I was younger, played goalkeeper, played Sunday League football as a goalkeeper, had to emulate after goalkeepers, and what better goalkeeper than to emulate than Tim Howard? Yes, I know it's a bit of an American bias, but when Americans have produced good footballers, more often than not, they also produced very good goalkeepers. Take a look at Casey Keller, Brad Friedel, Brad Guzan, Marcus Hanneman, and Tim Howard, of course. So really, really liked his style, and just taking a look at what he did during the 2014 World Cup. Yes, U.S. may have lost versus Belgium, but save after save after save. Just an amazing feat of athleticism for the guy. And hell, he even got himself a goal. He even got himself a goal in the Premier League. Forget what team it was. I was Bolton. It was against Bolton back in 2011. So yeah, hey, can't fault the guy. He could do it all. But yeah, I gotta say that Tim Howard is my favorite player of all time. And then finally, I had to read this over again because it was just, it was a great question. It was a great statement followed by a question. And this is from James Green, who says, as an Englishman, your knowledge of football restores my faith in a country that seems all but clueless when it comes to the beautiful game. My question is, how did your interest in football begin, and do many of your friends and family share your passion? Well, James, like I said, thank you very much for the statement and the question. I do got to say that before I go anywhere, Football Manager has helped me out with the knowledge of the world of football, both in the teams, players, and even the leagues. I just said both. I meant in all of it. But you know what I'm trying to say. But I got to say, my interest in football began at a young age, playing youth football for my school. It then went away after I latched onto baseball and American football, but it rekindled once again back in 2010. That's when the 2010 World Cup was just about to start. I needed to get myself learning the game of football because 2010 in Chicago sports just was a peak low because the baseball teams were doing bad. The Blackhawks, yes, they were in the middle of a playoff run, but no one expected them to do anything with it. The Bears were just ending their playoff run and now no one knows when exactly they'll be back. So 2010 in Chicago wasn't a great time in sport. So I needed to find some other sport to latch onto to watch because well, I need something to do. And it just drew my attention that, hey, the World Cup's coming forward. I need to watch as much football as possible to get myself used to the game and see if this would interest me. It did interest me. It already held an interest with me, just not as much as all the other American sports. So I latched onto Everton, which, of course, at the time had the two best American players in Tim Howard and Landon Donovan, and I watched every single week Premier League football as much as I could with Everton, all leading up to the World Cup. World Cup came and went, was really, really interested in football and wanted to know more. And to make a long story short, after the World Cup, I was introduced to Football Manager, which, as I said before, was where I got all my knowledge, or majority of my knowledge for the world of football, and that's where the original passion of football has led me to today. Now, as far as your second question goes, do many of your friends and family share your passion? Sadly, no. My family understands my passion, but none of them actually watch the game of football. And in my immediate circle of friends, I only have one other person that understands the game of football. He himself is a Manchester United fan. You can draw your conclusions there on if he understands football or not, but he watches the Premier League on a weekly basis, much like myself, so we can discuss football back and forth. And all of our friends know that if they have any questions about a certain league or a certain team, or even a certain player, they can either ask one of us. So yeah, not a lot of people in my immediate area that's really know about the game of football or understand the game of football, but they at least understand that I have a passion for it. And after all that, thank you very much for your questions. I really, really appreciate that you took time out of your day to write it down, and I really hope that I had answered it to the best of your ability. And if not, you can always hit me up on Twitter at Brian_Gendo, where you can ask me all the questions that you want. But anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. I will say one more time that don't worry about the new series. It's going to be coming in the end of the month, the Athletic Bilbao Challenge. Hopefully, you guys will stick around and wait to see that content come out. But as always, guys, this is Gendo, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and peace out.